There's curtains between me and other people.
The following program is an exclusive Disruption Networks production.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broken everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Welcome to EC Radio Podcast. We would like to thank all of our sponsors for joining the Disruption team, and we hope that you will support all of our sponsors. And of course, we appreciate you listening to this program.
Only on the D!
Join us Saturday, February 8th for the Disruption Network 3-year anniversary party at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica, New York. Musical acts include Annie in the Water, acoustic performance by Haley Jane, Trampoline Jetstream, and Live Noah. Haley in the Water will cap off the night covering Fleetwood Mac's hit album, Rumors. Party kicks off at 6 p.m. There will be beer, wine, food from Doughboys Barbecue, and Holy Pozzoli. Saturday, February 8th. For tickets, visit our website, DisruptionNetwork.net.
Baby, how are you? How you doing? What's going on? DC Radio time. We are live and direct on the D. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. And you can listen to the podcast whenever the hell you want. DisruptionNetwork.net, Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. I'm hooked on Spotify. I'm a Spotify addict. I think it's changed the way I listen to music. Do you guys agree? You're a big Spotify guy.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Amigo in the house with us. And also our guys from Agent Paranormal, my man Rich Neckadim in the house with us. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. What's up?
Good to see you.
Same here.
We launched Agent Paranormal on Sunday. We're going to get into all that because, first of all, we got to give love to the sponsors. Much love to Utica Coffee. What are we drinking at? You just brewed this up.
Adirondack Blueberry.
Adirondack Blueberry. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it tasted a little fruity.
Yeah, it was really nice. I was like, that's what it calls for this afternoon, is a nice cup of Adirondack Blueberry from Utica Roasters.
And I'm clipping that right there. There you go. It's that golden voice of yours, brother.
You feel that?
Oh, yeah, I do. Big ups to my friends Heather and Frank. And should we talk? Can we mention that with what we talked about or no?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, is that cool?
I'm cool with it.
Agent Paranormal coming out with a Utica coffee blend themselves.
Yeah. Well, our good friends over at Utica Coffee Roasters and Agent Paranormal had a little talk about kind of bagging our own coffee. And if I get a coffee, that's where I'm going to get it from, and only from them. I've enjoyed their coffee for years. I'm hooked on Jamaican Me Crazy. I mean, love that stuff. And essentially, we're going to try to get a coffee package with them. And, for the ghost hunters and those people who like things that go bump in the middle of the night.
How cool is this, man?
You should have a glow-in-the-dark label.
Yeah, well, don't give my graphics guy any other ideas. It'll just delay everything even further.
Dude, I saw the labels. They look really cool. Really,
Awesome.
really cool. It has the Agent Paranormal logo on it and the different blends that they have.
Awesome.
What was the one blend? Can you mention that? What was it?
Well, it's actually not so much a blend as it is like a name.
Right.
Kind of being very themed when it comes to the actual coffee. But we were looking at, I'll give you here, see, a Paranormal Spirit Blend.
Right?
That's one of the ideas that we
Need
were talking
that.
about.
Great
so.
name. Great name.
Yeah.
Great folks over at Utica Coffee. You can check them out at wakethehellup.com. And when they say wake the hell up, they mean it.
Oh, yeah, definitely, especially with the
woke.
Utica Buzz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And this blueberry's great, too. The other day I mixed gingerbread biscotti with cannoli because it was like the little bit that I had in each bag. So I just put them together.
And that's the great thing about it, is that you can mix.
Oh, yeah. I'm a
Mix the coffees. Make your own.
mixologist of coffee. But no, it was really good. It was a cool little mix. I enjoyed it.
I have the cookies and cream at home right now, along with the French toast blend.
Makes me want to sing that G-Love song right now. Cookies and cream. You know that song?
Yeah, man.
Anyways, also much love to EJA Moving Services. My man Eddie, those guys are killing it. I love that man. All that he's doing. If you need a good, reliable moving service, say you got gym equipment that you want to move, call up Eddie at 315-335-0516. The guy's a logistic guy. He'll move you wherever you need to go. So give Eddie a call today, and you can watch. If you can find him online at ejamoving.com. And also much love to our peeps over at Utica Hemp. We got a big thing brewing with Utica Hemp coming up in just a little bit. And
Keep that under wraps.
I'm keeping it under wraps. But we got a good thing going on with Utica Hemp. We're going to be doing a little fundraiser with them and a girl that's suffering from cancer.
Yes.
And we'll just leave it at that. I've got more meetings and details coming up in a little bit about that. But put it on your radar, folks, because we're going to do some cool things. And,
Details coming soon.
and CBD, I'm telling you, it's saving the world. It's helping people. It's helping people with cancer and PTSDs and fibromyalgia and anxiety and just so many ailments that are going on out there that CBD is really, really helping. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of CBD. And Utica Hemp's doing some great stuff, so find them online at uticahempco.com. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was about to say big advocate for it.
Yeah.
Big time. They run the gamut. They get everybody on the spectrum or just anybody in any kind of sociological or what is it? The demographic. It's anybody. Everybody across the board.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
If you hang out at Utica Hemp, I often hang out there a lot.
It's a nice place. Very tranquil.
Yeah, I like to drink the chaga tea that they got going on.
You love your tea,
I
man.
love my tea. Anyways, and I love my coffee too, of course. But if you hang out there, the demographic that you speak of, it's
you got old ladies coming in there, and you got kids that are like 19, 20 years old coming in there.
Old ladies with their dogs, too.
You got lawyers coming in there, doctors coming in there. Like, so many different walks of life are coming in and out of Utica. They're doing a good thing. They really are. Big ups to Joe Sweet. Love you, kid. Rich, man, we launched Agent Paranormal on Sunday, and off to raving reviews. A lot of people were talking about it. I've had some people like, wow, there's a new paranormal show on the D. This is so cool. So I think you're going to build up a nice little fan base, as you already have a little fan base yourself. But I think you're going to build up a nice little fan base joining forces with the D.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to that. I mean, I looked around for different options, and I said, I want to call these guys. They're doing great things. They're well connected to the community. And I said, if we're going to take our brand and our name and put it on some kind of streaming network show, it's going to be here.
Awesome, man. And I really appreciate you going with us. And you guys are off to a great start. You got a great crew with you, Pete and Chris and Kevin, of course. I didn't meet the ladies yet because they were absent. But talk a little bit about your crew and like their background and whatnot.
Well, we're kind of like a ragtag bunch of paranormal investigators coming from all sort of walks of life. I mean, we've got Pete, who's a historian. As a matter of fact, this Saturday at the Rome Historical Society, Pete's getting a big award, one of the highest awards you can get
Really?
for historical preservation. He's authored numerous books locally on Rome, on the paranormal, on Griffiths Air Force Base. So he's if you need to know anything about the Civil War, this guy is the guy. I mean, collectibles, I mean, the knowledge, the history of it. I mean, he's amazing. And any paranormal group needs a good historian because when someone calls us to come in for an investigation, part of the process is to take a look at the historical background of the property or the family or anything. Give us some clues, if there are any clues. Sometimes it doesn't lead us to anything. Other times it unveils some things. Like, for instance, when we've done investigations at the Rutgers and we've got recordings and we hear people's names like, Johnny or Milton or something like that.
Johnny.
Milton.
Exactly. Then you go back in the historical record and you find out that there was somebody named Milton that was there.
Yeah.
Somebody named Johnny that lived there. So, I mean, it gives you a little bit more, you take it a little bit more seriously when it ties into something, that's relevant to the property. Then Kevin's our graphics guy. He does a lot of the graphics for the apparel he designed, the labels for the coffee that we're evaluating. He designed that. And he came in and he was doing the engineering of that show, our first episode.
Yeah, he did great.
And Todd's like, dude, usually I have to spend time with people, and Kevin ran the whole thing.
I want 5 more Kevins around here, please.
All of us. The world would be a much better place with 5 more Kevins.
Amigo, he just sat down and knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. Like, Todd, none of us had to tell him what to do. It was amazing. It blew me away. I was like, we need more of this guy.
Never
right
met
here.
a Kevin I didn't like.
There you go. Exactly. And then there's the Chris. You met Chris.
We met Chris, right?
Yeah, who works over WKTV.
Yep.
He's kind of our videography guy.
He does promos over at TV, right?
Yeah, he's our video guy. He's starting to learn a lot about the paranormal from us, and we've taken him on a couple investigations, and his name got called out a couple times through some spirit box sessions.
Really?
I think kind of freaked him out. But Chris is pretty, like, even-keeled. I mean, I don't see him, like, freaking out. I mean, he's just kind of like, oh, wow. I think that's Chris freaking out. He's such a cool dude. And then Nicole... I've worked with Nicole in the paranormal for years, and she's also known as Ghost Girl. You can find her on Facebook as Ghost Girl, and she goes all over the place. She knows everyone in the paranormal. I mean, her Facebook page, she's networked with everybody. Then there's also Maeve. Maeve is Kevin's wife, and she's an empath of the group, and so we haven't gotten her on the show.
You need an empath
yet.
in the show.
Yeah. So
that's the balance.
Yeah, so they're all great additions, and I'm very fortunate that they're part of my team, but I have some other members too that aren't necessarily involved in the show as well. They just don't want to be. They're just not that type of person. But yeah, it's a great group, and we've got a lot of stuff going on or coming up. Actually, some events and a couple investigations came across our plate. We're taking a look at right now. We take that stuff very, very seriously, especially if there's a children involved or someone with a disability or something along those lines. We take those very serious, and we try to put them at the top of the ladder of our duties. So yeah, great things.
I want to back up. You were talking about Peter and being a historian. But you also mentioned Griffiths, and I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, and I watched that interview with him and Dan Aykroyd, and they started talking about Griffiths Air Force Base,
Right.
and like aliens. Did you have any knowledge on any of that whatsoever, or does Peter?
Oh my God, you could get Peter on here for a whole entire show about Griffiths and aliens.
Yeah.
Peter
There's
actually,
a lot of paranormal activity going on up there.
yeah, because you got to remember, the paranormal doesn't mean just ghosts.
Right.
The paranormal is the paranormal. UFOs are unidentified flying object. That doesn't mean it's paranormal. It could be something that's normally there. We just can't identify it. But you talk aliens, Bigfoot, spirits, ghosts, that all falls into the paranormal. So Pete's got probably one of the best overall interests in education and all that. If you ever want to bring him in and talk about UFOs and Griffiths, he'll fill your ear full of a lot of information, man.
That. I need that.
Lot. He used to do some lectures on UFOs and Griffiths and how they're tied in, and it was really interesting and it was really good.
Any activity still going on to this day, or is this something that just kind of happened in the 40s that you would know of?
According to Pete, there's still stuff going on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's witnessed a few things, and
Really?
yeah, I don't really get that deep into the UFOs because I'm so wrapped up in with the paranormal stuff as far as ghosts and entities and all that
Spirit
stuff.
communication.
Right, and so that's his bag of tea. But I'm sure he'd love to come down to the studio and rap with you about that because, I mean, you will learn a lot from that guy.
Yeah, I need to get him on
He's
the
that
horn.
good.
Yeah. And after watching that Joe Rogan episode, and here's Dan Aykroyd. Who's Dan Aykroyd?
Dan Aykroyd.
And he's talking about Griffiths Air Force Base. And I remember watching that like in my bed, and I'm like, did he just say Rome? Like freaking out, you know? And you knew he had ties to upstate New York with the Herkimer Diamonds and stuff like that.
It's crazy who has actual ties to the upstate New York or central New York here.
So many. But that Dan Aykroyd episode, it really got to me. So cool. I'm going to reach out to Pete because I think this conversation needs to happen on this podcast.
I think you do.
Oh, yeah,
you'd have a
definitely.
great episode, man. You'd be scratching your head and you'd be like, holy crap, how does this guy know all of this?
He's also a comedian, too. Dude's hysterical.
Oh, he absolutely is hysterical.
He is hysterical. Nice. So you guys do ghost hunting pretty much all over the place. Like you've been through Rucker Park, and you ever done anything at the Stanley?
No, but we would love to.
I know people over there. We got to make that happen. Give me some. Okay, so you got into this whole ghost hunting thing. Give me like an example of coming out of a ghost hunt, like going, "Wow, this is amazing! I am so glad that I'm doing this." Like, give me a good success story of like things that happened on this ghost hunt that make you come out of there going, "Yeah, we hit a home run on this one."
All right, so you want an example of a case where we were called in to help somebody, and we actually did help somebody.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this is going to be a private case, so no names and no exact locations.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of our policy.
Protect the innocent.
Exactly. So we got a call from a family that bought an old farmhouse, and they were remodeling it. They're a young couple, and they had plans to have children, and this house had enough space for them, and upstairs and downstairs, multiple bedrooms. So they moved in, and things were fine. They started doing some remodeling. And then stuff started to happen. They got, uneasy feelings. They heard things at night and, starting to see shadows and things missing and hear people walking around. So they started to get freaked out. So they pretty much moved everything from the upstairs down into the downstairs and lived in just the kitchen, the bathroom, the living room. Wow. Okay, so those 3 rooms are all connected. That's where they felt, I guess, the safest, maybe. So they called in a paranormal team. It wasn't us. They called in a team. The team came in, did their investigation. I don't have all the specifics to it, but one thing sticks in my mind, and that is they told the family that in their upstairs bedroom, the one that they were going to create into a nursery, in the closet was a portal to hell. Now,
Interesting.
okay, so if you detected something like that, if there was such a thing, and you were such a person who could detect that,
Who's telling them this?
the psychic that was
that
in the
came in,
paranormal,
okay.
this other paranormal group.
Gotcha.
Why would you do that to scare the living bejesus out of the people?
Right.
Okay. So now they're basically,
Delicate.
yeah. Now they're like, we got to get the hell out of here. Screw it. Let's move out. It's not worth, our happiness, our livelihoods, and all the stress and anxiety. So they decided to reach out to another paranormal group, and it happened to be a group that I was a member of. So we went down, met with them, and we could tell there's something weird going on in the house. You could feel pockets of energy and cold spots and things like that. We went upstairs and we said, all right, Pete, we got a job for you. We always send Pete in places that we don't want to go to. He's like, sure.
You're Shaggy and Scooby of the bunch.
Send the big fat guy in. That's what he told me. Send the big fat guy in, right? So we go, Pete, you got to go into the closet. So he goes in the closet, turns around. What do you want me to do? Boom, shut the door on him. Stay there for a while. He's like, what's supposed to be going with the closet? It's a portal to hell. He's great. So we left him in there for a while. And
does he have any equipment with him? Any like a talk box or any of that stuff? Okay.
Yeah, spirit box.
Spirit
got
box.
some.
See him with the little microphone and the little box.
Yeah.
With a lighter in his face. Please let me out. So after that, he came out. He's like, I don't know what a portal to hell is supposed to feel like, but this just feels like a very cramped, scary closet. So we quickly debunked the portal to hell thing. So as we were making our way back downstairs to meet with the folks to talk to them about saying, we don't really have come across anything, I just randomly walked by a small table. And on the small table, there happened to be this old shoe. It looked like it was like over 100 years old, leather shoe, and a pair of like large like scissors, like maybe a seamstress would use or something, kind of old and rusty. And all of a sudden, my K2 meter detects electromagnetic energy, okay, EMF they call it. Electromagnetic field. I walked by and all of a sudden the thing went from green, which is normal, pinned all the way to red, which means high amounts of electromagnetic fields. So I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. And I told him, I said, maybe you got an outlet that's not shielded or something here, because it's really, it's like being next to a microwave oven. Okay. He's like, no, there's no power in that wall. What's on the other side? He goes, I'll show you. He opened the door, took me in. It was a big room that they gutted. So all the plaster, everything was out of it. It was just right down to the actual studs. And I'm like, oh, it's weird. I go, where'd you get the shoe and scissors from? He goes, I pulled it out of the wall. I go, it was in the wall? He goes, yeah, it was inside of the walls. I'm like, all right. So I look around. There's no power at all. So how does a leather shoe and a pair of scissors generate enough electromagnetic energy to simulate almost a microwave oven? That's because there's something attached to it. Those were personal items. So we removed the items from the house, put them in a shoebox, and placed them in the garage, which is like a short walk away from the house. After that, we checked back with the family, said, oh, everything's great. It's fine. It's like there's a whole different feeling here. Things are great. So we said, great. Pat on the back for us, right? That's what we meant to do. That's why we become paranormal investigators, to find the truth and to help people. Well, not even a month later, I get a call like 11:30 at night. This woman called me hysterically crying. It's back. It's back. I'm like, all right. So I didn't live that far from this location.
What was back? Like she was hearing noises, banging,
shadows,
creaking of the floors, doors shut and stuff like that.
Okay. And I said, what happened? He goes, we don't know. And I'm like, all right, let me come down. So I left. I grabbed some equipment, drove out there. I walked in. As soon as I walked in, I looked in. There on that freaking table is the scissors and the shoe.
Come on.
I said,
what are they doing?
I go, how did those get in here?
You left it in the garage.
We left it in the garage.
Okay.
The owner of the home, the husband, said, I kept dreaming about it. And I just kept dreaming. I couldn't get it out of my mind. Something kept compelling me to go get, this is what he's telling me, compelled me to go grab that stuff and bring it back into the house. Bring the energy back into the house. Therefore, you bring that spirit back into the house.
Wow.
And they did. So I said, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to get out. Just leave. They're like, what are you going to do? Just go outside. Go have a cigarette. They both smoke. Go outside. So I am in the house by myself. It's dark. Now you can feel the energy starting to rise. All the hair standing up. I'm like, oh, boy, something's about to happen.
You were feeling it.
Yeah, something's about to happen. Huh. So I grabbed the box, I put the shoe, and I put the scissors, and I said, I'm taking these with me, and you're not to come back in this home. Well, I was literally like 10 feet from the cellar door, and all of a sudden you hear like a thump, 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 like someone's coming up the stairs.
Ooh.
And now I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like shocked, but I'm also like, anxious. Should I run out the door or should I wait to see what happens?
Gotta wait.
So I waited, right? And so I'm there, and all of a sudden I could see the door sort of kind of shake a little bit, and then it opened. And of course, it's got to be one of those old creepy doors that goes.
Yeah.
When it opens, I mean, it wouldn't be fun if it was like on the nice oiled hinges where it just swung open, right? And so I could hear like a faint whisper of like, no, like that, almost like a no.
Now, do you have the box with you?
The box with the items in it.
Oh yeah.
Not the spirit box.
Not the spirit box.
No.
Okay, that's
so
what I meant, the spirit box.
I left the house, and I went outside, and I said, it's coming with me. Give me a shovel. They gave me a shovel. I took my iPhone, turned the flashlight on, walked way out into this cow field, because they own some land, way out there someplace, ankle deep in mud and ruts and stuff, trying not to trip and fall. I found a spot, I dug a hole, and I threw the items in there, and then I basically kind of covered it up best I could. And then I kind of did one of those like weird pass so they couldn't see exactly where I was coming from. And I came back and I said, this should do the trick. And then I went back into the house and it was like as if nothing ever happened. I'm like, hello, walking around, doing a spirit communication thing, got my EM equipment out, nothing. It just felt, open the door, look down the cellar, walk down into there, just feels like a normal old farmhouse.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I came back out and said, you cannot take that box back into the house. That box contains the energy of something. I'm assuming somebody that probably lived there. And then as soon as you started to go in there and do construction on that and change the layout of the home and change their stuff, they either got angry, upset with you, or they're trying to reach out to tell you something. We don't know. But since that's gone, let's just leave it be. So I never heard back from them again. They have my number, and I told them if anything ever happens to call me.
How long ago?
I'm hoping this is like one of those happy ending stories where, they have kids now and things prospered for them and they're doing well.
They rebuilt the home and there's a swing set in the back.
Yeah, the whole dream.
How long ago was this?
Oh, 5 years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So that's cool. You haven't heard from them.
No,
So
I have not.
Hopefully that was a success, right?
I know,
there.
right? Isn't that wild that spirits can like be anchored to certain objects within this astral plane, and then once you disturb their thing, then they come back.
Crazy.
And then they give you all this negative energy. Because I guess that's what they do. They feed on you, so you feel, like less. You're drained. You have negative thoughts.
Right.
Sometimes you're out of yourself. You don't feel like yourself. It's a strange feeling.
Yeah, for sure. In that case, too, would you like smudge, use some sage or something like that? I mean,
no.
Does that work?
It does if you know how to do it.
What do you mean if you know
Well,
how to do it?
you really got to know what you're doing because you can actually have the reverse effect and actually trap something in there. So I don't basically do that. If I'm going to sage or have something sage, I'll call someone in who knows how to do it properly because you want to basically cleanse the house.
So there's like a sage expert out there?
Well, I don't
There's
know
got
if
to
it's
be
an
a
expert.
method to it.
Yeah?
There's definitely has to be a method. You can't probably just like scribble the walls like you're coloring in a coloring book, right? You
Right.
got to do like some witchy shit.
Yeah. You got to draw with it or something? Is that the thing? Is there like a technique?
I know.
There is a technique that you have to do.
What do they do in like church with like the frankincense?
Yeah.
There's got to be like a technique to
Swing.
the swing, right?
Right, right, and that's the thing. You speak of witches, we've come across them before too.
Oh, I love the Wiccans.
Yeah, we've actually been investigating some of their properties and found some really weird and disturbing things. So the thing that people have to realize is that, I mean, first of all, I'm a skeptic. Okay, I believe in certain things now that I didn't believe back in 2008. But every time I go into a new case, I walk in with the thought that, okay, these people believe something is going on. So in their minds, there is something paranormal here. But at the same time, I have to be open-minded and I have to have some type of skepticism. I can't walk in and say, oh, it's definitely a ghost. I want to basically find a solution, not just pile on to their belief that, oh, yeah, you're right. And we've gone and investigated properties and found that there was, I mean, terrible places where people were screaming that they saw a boogeyman at night and all this kind of stuff. Their children couldn't sleep at night. And we go in there and find out there was no paranormal presence at all.
They're just living under power lines.
Yeah, it was high EMF. It was high EMF. Put an alarm clock, those old school alarm clocks next to your head and your pillow and go to bed at night, sleep sometime and see how long it takes before you start like having like weird dreams and restlessness.
Right.
And
I mean, do you find like a correlation between people that live closer to power lines think they have a lot more paranormal activity as opposed to someone who's out in the country and has like no electricity basically running through their house?
Well, I don't know if we've ever studied a correlation, but I know that we always look for EMF anytime we do an investigation because that can cause a lot of these things of hallucinations and thinking you're seeing people at night. And, if you have a power line coming to your house, it should be shielded. So if you stand inside of the house on the opposite side of where that power line is coming in, you should detect a minimal amount, if any, leakage. But if you put like a K2 meter up and it pegs red, that's a shielding problem right there. There's definitely some EMF leaking, and you need to probably talk to an electrician or someone to get care of that. Don't sleep next to it. That's for certain.
Update your electricity. Sometimes you have like the switches that have like the something that's grounded, and you have the arc that's in between. Sometimes people have old electricity in their house. They got to get updated.
Yeah, energy is. When we talk about energy, people are generators of energy too.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you can get zapped if you deal with something that knows what to do, and you say piss it off, it can zap you, and you feel drained. You feel like a battery's about to die.
Right.
And you got to go lay down for a while and recharge. And
Right.
then, I mean, I know it's happened to me a couple times.
I bet.
Many people that I work with in this field have the same experiences.
I'm friends with a couple mediums, and when they do readings, like they can't even after they do a couple readings, they got to go rest for a day or two.
Yeah, you see them like sweating profusely, and you're like, you're all right. All you do is sit there and do some readings. I was like, you don't understand that actually to be legit and summon this stuff, they want to draw off of you to communicate with you.
Yeah.
Our
boy Andy Waters is out there grooving lumens. Percy says, why does Antoine Lenzo sound like Colenso? The other thing is he's saying, my wife and kid says there's a female ghost in their house and he's never seen or heard anything before. What would you recommend in that situation? Like Andy's from Rochester, like somebody's out there. Is there something like they could do before calling you or calling in an investigating team to try to see if there's some paranormal activity going on?
How far do you go?
He'll go wherever.
We'll travel, pretty much wherever. But sometimes it makes sense to basically reach out to a group that you may know that's in that area that can be more responsive to someone. See, when we actually have a case, we try to evaluate it. We don't just get like, oh my God, I got a ghost in my house. Please come, and we rush over there in the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, right.
Like Scooby Doo.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go, gang.
And you knock on the door, proton packs on, and everything. I mean, we just don't do it. We basically do a consultative type process with people. Look at the situation, talk to them, basically ask some questions. Sometimes they're personal questions, but we need to know. And then we have a meeting. We decide if the group wants to do it. We go do what we call a consult. We go to the home, meet the people, bring a minimal amount of equipment, see if there's anything that we can detect that's going on.
You go at night? Or during the day?
Most of the time at night. And then we usually go back and do investigation. There's as much paranormal activity during the day as there is night. It's just,
it's
people,
nonstop, right?
Right. People have access to doing things at night versus, working during the day.
Yeah, they're not clocking in and out.
Right. And most of our equipment basically is all
They're ghost year round.
Yeah, exactly. So to answer your question, if there's something going on in the house, and as long as it's not bothering anyone, I just say let it be.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly what Andy's saying right now, too. He goes, well, I don't see it or hear it, so I don't need help.
yeah, exactly. Just let it be. If it becomes a problem, then what you need to do is contact a paranormal group if you want that. Give them permission to come in and at least maybe identify what that spirit is. But the other thing you got to be careful of is like sometimes they may be trying to communicate with the people that live there. And once you bring in someone like us who knows how to communicate with them and they start talking, they're going to be like, wow, they can actually hear me. And they may not shut up for a good night or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes they follow us home.
Well, speaking of communication, you have like some devices you brought with you, right?
Yeah, just kind of for show and tell.
Show and tell, yeah. It's show and tell time here
Show and tell.
EC Radio. And show and tell is brought to you by Utica Hemp. Check them out at uticahempco.com. See if CBD works for you. Stop living in pain. All right, so what did you bring over? Let's see what you got over here.
Well, I've got this is a spirit box.
Okay.
This is a dual channel spirit box. Spirit box is pretty much a glorified radio. They just make it loop. So once you start a forward or backward sweep, it just scans all the stations, either AM or FM, and you can stop at 50 milliseconds up to about 300 milliseconds per station. So this gives a spirit a conduit to communicate. But you got to basically decipher between what is radio chatter and what is like, actual voice.
Paranormal.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes when I do these at an event, people are like, oh my God, it just said my name. It said my name. I'll go back and listen to it. No, it didn't say your name.
So it records as well?
No, we set up audio recorders like Tascams. We use digital audio recorders next to them to record it. I do have one. It's a newer one that actually has a built-in recording system in it, and I'm just starting to use that. The other thing is these are fringe tools. Okay, these are fringe devices. So before ghost hunting became like the rage, this stuff didn't even exist. Okay, so this is not stuff that like electricians are using. And all of a sudden we adapted it to ghost hunting, and this is called an ovulus. This is probably one of the most fringe type equipments I've ever seen. So the theory on this is that
Obvious sounds like a sex toy.
Yeah,
Right? Ovulus?
It does. I've had this for a few years, and I'm still experimenting with it, trying to get something like constructive out of it, and it still has not really produced anything really for me. I still take it because I believe one of these days I'm going to get a hit, But essentially, if you can think of this as like a computer chip with like tons, maybe thousands of words programmed into it, and it assumes that a spirit can like reach out to this box using energy and make it say something.
Whoa.
Like a speak and spell?
Yeah, you heard it when I turned it on. It's a dictionary mode, a very robotic voice.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, I've told a bad joke once and it said, ha ha. You know? So, I mean, I keep it around. It's more of like a novelty kind of thing. I think it's kind of cool. And this is a REM pod. So this...
what is it?
REM
pod.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is cool because we just did an investigation over at the Rutgers, and we put it in front of the door in one of the rooms. And it was just the lights were on. And we said, come to the door if you want to talk to us. All of a sudden, this thing lit up like Christmas. It started, sirens and everything started going off on it.
Whoa.
And then we're like, walk away from it, please. And it would just walk away and everything would stop. You know, so it's kind of a little like tracking device. So they walk by, it gives you an alarm and say, hey, something with energy just came past that. Something with, significant energy just came past that.
Egon had one of those things. It had the antennas with the handheld. I think that's the same thing.
It's safe to say at Rucker Park, the spirits over there are pretty friendly.
I would say so. I don't know of anyone actually being harmed.
Because it sounds like it's been good interaction with what's going on over at Rucker Park.
Well, we've talked to things that were possibly just people who may have been residents in the nursing home that was there. Because you remember that mansion number 1 was a nursing home one time, so that could be a good location for suffering. And nursing homes are not pleasant places.
Right.
We've also talked to things there that we think might be possibly more on the negative entity side. But the thing is, there's nothing to be concerned about because, I mean, we're shielded from anything. This is this realm and this is this realm. So,
gotcha.
But you got to be careful. You don't antagonize things. I mean,
Right.
I mean, if you watch Ghost Adventures, they are always antagonizing. Poor Zach has been zapped I don't know how many times. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of respect for the show. I watch it. I mean, they do an amazing job like introducing new equipment, and they go to some really cool places. But yeah, he's been zapped a lot of times. So, you just got to be careful. Use your common sense.
Can you scam the room right now? See if we got anything going on.
Yeah.
Got any activity going on?
You might have some spirits connected to you, man.
I do. I know for
those late nights at the EC. We already know.
I know. I got family attached to me. I know for a fact.
You could.
I know.
Ask it a question.
Is there anybody out there?
Pink Floyd. Remember we were talking about this earlier.
So right now it's just kind of scanning the room.
Yeah, it's just kind of right now. It's just scanning the bands of. I think what this is. That's AM. We'll go back to FM.
Camp Crystal Lake.
We're gonna hear Genesee Joe. 92.7 FM, The Drive.
You could. You technically could hear a sample of him.
We'll hear
so right now it's just scanning through at 150 millisecond sample per station. So you're starting to hear some chatter. But imagine sitting in a dark room of a place that's considered haunted.
Can you put that up to the microphone?
And you're basically doing this, and all of a sudden you start to hear something answer you back.
Exactly what you want to hear at 3 a.m. Looking for ghosts, asking it questions. Hello.
Hang on, let's hear.
Do you know Z Donaldson?
Is there anybody living in this room? Luke, I am your father. Good one, Andy.
Is your brain frozen?
Senator Palpatine.
Ground control?
You can see that
Have you ever been up to Saranac Lake?
many times we're not ghost hunting.
Not ghost hunting. I've heard through the grapevine that Saranac Lake is one of the most haunted places in the United States. Reason being is that more people died per capita in such a large concentration because I guess they use Saranac Lake as a tuberculosis
Okay.
refuge or like a quarantine area. And since everybody had TB out there, a lot of them died. So a lot of people died in such a small area. So they say, quote unquote, that Saranac Lake is one of the most haunted places.
Never knew that. Never knew that. What about some of the most haunted places in the area that you're aware of? You're playing one?
All right, I'll play something for you.
Okay.
I'll play something for you. We didn't air this on our our first episode, but this is actually kind of cool.
Okay.
Because this transcends the spirit box. How would you like to be in a room by yourself and ask, "Is there a little kid here?" and not hear anything? Walk out of the room, turn your audio recorder on, and then find somebody laughing.
Ugh.
So what I'm about to play for you is just that. Okay, you're going to hear a child laughing so crystal clear.
And this is during a case.
This is during the case.
Okay.
It's going to be Pete asking a question. Okay, so let me play this right up close to the microphone.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Put it right up there.
Is there a little kid that's here?
Did you hear that?
Oh, there's a laugh, huh?
Did you hear that?
No, I heard it.
Let me try it again here.
No, yeah, play it again. But I did hear that. It was kind of like a giggle.
Yeah.
We'll just wait for the fire trucks to go by.
Is there fire trucks here? There's a lot. We're on James Street.
Yeah.
It's nonstop action. Looks like they're going to be staying right there on that corner.
All right, here we go.
Is there a little kid that's here?
Wow. Wow, that's creepy.
That's nuts.
That's creepy.
I mean,
And that was part of the case.
that was part of the case.
Okay.
There was no child living there at all.
Now, what else did he have in the room with him besides the voice box? Did you have one of those thermometers that can detect if there's a change in temperature?
Yes, usually now they're built into like spirit boxes have that function like built into them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure what Pete had was an audio recorder. Obviously, that's how we got that. He probably also had a K2 meter, which senses energy. You can ask spirit to reach out and touch the meter, and probably a flashlight. Knowing that's probably about all he had when he captured that.
Do you use special flashlights because on account of certain energies that can draw the power from the batteries? Do you have like the crank or flashlights or a special battery that goes into your flashlights?
Well, what happens a lot with paranormal investigators is that we it's not uncommon that we charge everything up, obviously, go in, and then as we're investigating, we find our batteries are dead or we lost half the juice.
Yeah.
And we walk out of the room, do
Typical.
something, and also we turn it back on, and it's all the way back to normal again. So we have these things called EM pumps, which are electromagnetic pumps. It's a DC motor with a 9-volt battery. And you plug it in, hit a button, and it just hums. It's like, bzzz. And all that is just a little motor creating an electromagnetic field. So if something needs energy to do something, we try to make it go to the EM pump and drain that versus draining the battery in our equipment. Because I got to tell you, batteries are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
We're self-funded, so when we do these things, we're constantly putting batteries in our stuff.
I'm sure.
So better to lose the EM pump than it is. I mean, don't technically lose it because it's a nice generator of power, but it also helps with EVPs, which are electronic, voices or electronic voice phenomenons they call it. And essentially, we put that near the recorders and near the spirit boxes, giving the spirits a little juice. If they want to say something, here's a electrical source, creating an electrical field that maybe will help you, get a nice crystal clear EVP. And I've been using that technique for years now, and it's worked well for me.
Are there some locations that are on your wish list that you want to go? Yeah?
Oh,
yeah. What
yeah.
are some of your wish list locations?
Well, geez, Eastern Penitentiary. I mean, we'd love to go there.
Where's that now?
I believe it's out in Philadelphia area.
Okay.
The Shanley Hotel. I mean, that's in New York. It's Shanley. The Stanley Hotel, which is the one up in Estate Park, I believe, Colorado.
Oh yeah, I drove past that.
Yeah, that's where the Shining.
That's where the Shining
Oh,
is.
right. Yes.
That is supposed to be really cool.
Okay.
And there's a place. The number one place is called Waverly, and it's in I believe it's either Kentucky or Tennessee. It's a tuberculosis clinic. Hospital.
Another TB place.
Oh, it's been on almost all the paranormal TV shows. It's absolutely huge, and they have the death tunnel, and people are taking pictures of imps and all kinds of stuff hanging around the property. It's a very negative place. I think a lot of pain and suffering took place, and then usually negative entities or spirits will migrate towards that type of thing. So I mean that's on so many wish lists. That's the place where they bring them balls and roll them into rooms and
They'll
on the
roll
halls
back.
and they roll back and stuff. So
Yuck.
yeah, it's like I mean, last time I checked, it's like I think it's like $1,000 a night.
Wow.
You can have up to like 10 people or 12 people.
Wow.
And just freak yourselves out for the
It's
night.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we did Rolling Hills, which is I think out near Batavia.
You know, it's funny. Andy's checking in saying Rolling Hills Sanitarium halfway between Rochester and Buffalo is supposed to be really haunted.
Yeah, we investigated that.
Andy just mentioned this. You did?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What's that all about?
Well, we got there. We did an event. Was with the Moons, and did the lecture by about 9:30 ish. We were investigating. Place is huge. It doesn't look so big from the outside, but once you get in there, it's like a labyrinth. You got down where the morgues are, then you go up to like a newer hospital area where there's just wheelchairs out in the hallways and, rooms that were just like left,
Everything was just left.
Yeah, then you go to like doctors' offices where it looks like, from the early 1900s where the bed is made and everything. It's just, they've done a phenomenal job keeping that place clean. I didn't get much as far as EVPs or anything out of there, but in the morgue, we definitely saw shadows darting in and out of the different rooms that were down there.
Really?
So it's a big place. It's pretty creepy. It's very dark in there, and it's definitely one that should be on everyone's bucket list as far as investigating, especially if you're based in New York.
Be an interesting place to go play hide and go seek.
Yeah. No.
I'm afraid that if you do that, you will get lost in there, and you'll become part of the history.
Oof.
And it's you come up to the place, you're like, oh, that's big, but when you get in there, it's like, this didn't look that big from the outside.
Swallows you whole.
And
You
it's just
know?
completely vacant?
Well, they actually, it's kind of neat because they have like they have a room where they do like they have catering and they do presentations, and they got like another room that they have like a gift shop and everything. So parts of it are set up for business. They do events there all the time, and you can buy tickets and go investigate overnight. So it is an active business for the paranormal. So they've done a great job with that. But they go through and take care of it pretty well. I'm sure they stage it a little bit, like put the wheelchairs in certain. I mean,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, but that doesn't mean that they have nothing to do with the paranormal activity. That's all all you. And some people have pulled out some pretty significant stuff out of there, and it's been featured on television shows. So
I'm sure it's very
That's
active.
amazing.
I'm sure it's active around Halloween. Like they do a bunch of events around Halloween.
yeah, that seems to be the time. I think that's more of like a Hollywood-driven cultural thing that everybody does around Halloween.
Yeah.
So we're always busy in Halloween. Paranormal investigators.
Oh, I'm sure. That's your peak season, I bet.
It is. It's like Christmas to us.
Anthony mentioned thermometers earlier. So if there's a spirit in the vicinity, the temperature goes down in the room? Is that how it's supposed to be? Is that the rule of thumb?
It usually gets colder.
It gets colder, right?
They're drawing in the thermal energy. That's there locally. So, you go to a chair. We've been investigations where we've asked something to sit in the chair and we put a thermometer on and watch the temperature drop significantly.
Really? Like how
Yeah.
much? Like 20 degrees?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
See your breath.
Well, that
Really?
I haven't experienced that significant of a drop, but I've heard stories of that. And you walk in, all of a sudden you use your breath. I mean, I see that a lot in horror movies in Hollywood, but that would be creepy.
Gives you the hair standing up on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about like residual energy that leaves a stench? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to say like ectoplasm or anything like that, but sometimes I guess certain entities out there bring like a horrible stench to themselves, or maybe if like your father smokes cigars,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You'll smell a cigar.
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up. In our line of work, we look at hauntings in two ways. We look at residual hauntings and intelligent hauntings. Intelligence are spirits that can communicate with us. They can do things, poltergeists and all that kind. That's all intelligent spirits. Then we look at what we call residual, and that's usually like a looped tape recorder. So it's something that happens. Like you go to Gettysburg, and something people see the soldiers marching. It's something trapped in time. It's on a loop. It's going to go on forever or for whenever it decides to stop. So when you do that, you go to a place that may have residual haunting going on. Unless you're there to witness that specific act to happen, you may not record anything, with your equipment or anything. So back to what you're talking about. So we've been asked to come into places like there's a historical society that was down in Whitesboro that talked to us about doing an event. And they said a long time ago that the building was, had a big fire in it. And we were walking in, and all of a sudden she started talking about it. And I'm like, I smell smoke. Pete goes, yeah, it's overwhelming amount of smoke. That kind of smoke, you'd be in a room where you wouldn't be able to see. Was that overpowering? She goes, oh, are you smelling it? He goes, we do all the time. I go, do you smell it? She goes, I do not. So the way I believe is that there truly is no smoke in the air that you're smelling. It's not there. They're planting it somehow into your brain to make you smell it. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with the foul odors. We've done investigations where we may think that there's something that very negative there, and all of a sudden the stench is just overwhelming.
Right.
But then it goes away.
Right.
And you're like, was that stench truly there? Mm-hmm. Or is it are they making us somehow smell that, you know? And that's the thing is, because if I smell that much smoke, I mean, obviously I've been an outdoorsman my whole life. I've been around campfires. If I'm going to smell that much smoke, I know there's going to be a lot of smoke in the air. You know, you're going to be choking on it. And there's nothing there. You look as clear as day.
Right.
And then it just goes away. Mm-hmm. So how is that possible?
I know. It always blew me away that, you know, someone would describe in detail about like this putrid odor or like the stench of the smoke that would be, you know, in the room, or, you know, someone smoking cigars, or just a certain perfume. You know, like someone smells their grandma's perfume over by the hutch because, you know, she's got something in there, her ashes. You know, it's... someone, because they say like what stenches or smell is the closest thing linked to memory, and a lot of people like will, you know, kind of fixate on that thing. It's like, oh, I smell cigars, so it's my dad, or, you know. But the putrid smells would always I've always thought about the putrid smell with the ghosts, just because I guess that was like more of like a negative effect or a strong entity, or, you know, something that was trying to like really break through. They never crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's basically because once we transcend from a living being, we become something else. And basically, they always say, you know, sometimes that your relatives will visit you in their dreams. Mm-hmm. So if they're visiting your dreams, they must be somehow be able to communicate with the subconscious to let you know, hey, smell this. Remember me?
Yeah.
You know, like you know, I've been in, you know, places where we think Grandpa's still here. We every once in a while we'll smell the cigar smoke, and we're doing our investigation. I'm like, I smell it. You know, for a short term, few seconds, and it goes away. But it's like
it's just so interesting.
It's a way to say, hey, communicate with me. I'm here. I want you to know that I'm here.
Remember how I smell. Somebody was saying that at the Rucker Park, like they would get this smell of like maybe a pipe getting smoked, like a tobacco pipe getting smoked, or something to that effect, or a cigar, like Anthony referred to earlier.
Right.
Is that true? It happens often at Rucker Park?
I've not experienced that at Rucker Park, but that's not per se. It's not happened to a lot of people. I've seen a lot of shadows moving around. I've smelled some foul odors. Got a lot of energy readings. Heard there was a spirit there, entity at one time named Klaus. And Klaus, we used to talk to him all the time. And he was a child. I mean, well, at least we thought he was a child, because he would say, Klaus. That's exactly how he would say his name. So I mean, it's different for everyone, you know? And it's very hard to think that it's all BS, because, you know, there might be some people in there like it's all BS, they're making it up. But then there's other people in there really having the experience. It's like Bigfoot. I mean, how can you actively dismiss Bigfoot? Because there are a lot of crackpots that have had experiences, but there are a lot of credible people that had experience. So you can't dismiss them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's got to be something there. Maybe it's not an 8-foot hairy beast, but there's definitely something there.
Huh, interesting.
I believe in Bigfoot. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to talk to Peter about that one. I think that's the conversation for Peter. We're going to talk about Griffiths and aliens and Bigfoot with Peter.
Well, I would be the Bigfoot guy.
Oh, you're the Bigfoot guy.
Peter would be the aliens and the
okay, you're the Bigfoot guy?
And Griffiths.
I had some friends that lived in Rutland, Vermont, and they got something in the mail saying that the Bigfoot Society wanted to do, they wanted to use their property and film on their property just because they were so far back into the woods that they wanted to check and see if Bigfoot was out there. And I guess they went like down this person's block, you know what I mean, putting, you know, mailing out all these letters to let people know that they wanted to film for Bigfoot because they thought they were in a like prime time area for Bigfoot.
Where is a prime time area for Bigfoot, Rich?
He's right off 81 in Pennsylvania.
Well, I can tell you this based on my experience of watching the TV
There's
show,
nothing out there.
Finding Bigfoot, because they've never found Bigfoot. Definitely the Northwest, Pacific Northwest is a hot spot, but also southeast Ohio is another hot spot. Yeah, for Bigfoot type activity. It's very rural down there. I mean, you got West Virginia and that part of Ohio. It's very rural down there. I've driven through there, and I'm telling you, man, it's rural. So if there's going to be anything that's going to be, and the thing that people amazes me is like, why is it so impossible that there is another creature that is that smart enough that it can avoid being detected for so long? And then also, if people really want to find the answer, why hasn't the military stepped in and say, all right, we got to put this thing to rest?
Yeah, seriously.
We got the technology.
All hands on deck.
Is there really something there, or is this all
Exactly.
BS? You know what I mean?
I bet Google Earth found it and just not telling anybody.
Maybe.
There's people that have had experiences, like that whole Matt Moneymaker, the guy from Finding Bigfoot. I mean, I think he was a lawyer. He's got a law degree. And his whole life's been dedicated to after he had some experiences, his whole life now is like dedicated to Bigfoot. So something very profound happened to make that guy go that direction.
A life
You know what I
based
mean?
on just the facts, and then he's looking for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
What about Jose Canseco? He's another one out there looking for Bigfoot.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Got more home runs off his head.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll find him.
But that was the thing I think that was maybe last year or 2018. He was out there looking for Bigfoot.
That's amazing. What is he going to do? How did he look for
inject him with
Bigfoot?
HGH. That's what he wants to do.
He's going to arm wrestle him.
He's going to draft him for the Oakland A's or something.
Draft him for his bar league softball team that is playing out in Vegas, man.
Wearing a pair of jean shorts out in the woods.
But there are some books written by anthropologists. I mean, these guys are PhD level doctors working at major universities.
Amazing.
That study this stuff. They study like what they call I think locomotive action or whatever it is, a terminology they use for the motion of ape, chimps, and stuff like that, and human beings. And they study the footprints and all that. And they basically, based on the steps, the size, they can put together the how things walk, how their hips are displayed. There's a whole book on it I read. It's actually very, very interesting. It's very scientific to explain that this stuff, I mean, could be real based on everything that we know now. But the thing is what brings it all into the world of the sketchiness is the fact that no one's got one. No one's killed one. No one's found one.
No one's found a
You know.
Bigfoot bone. They only got
Exactly.
like foot castings or some rando hair on the side of a tree because they think someone was scratching up against it. So it's like they don't have too many physical evidence for Bigfoot findings.
Well, a lot of predators, you don't find dead predators in the woods at all.
That's very
You
true.
find deer.
Find their scat.
Right. But they said there's a lot of animals that you can't go out. How many times you go in the woods and ever find? I've spent a lot of time in the woods. How many porcupine carcasses have you ever found? How many coyote carcasses? Unless somebody shot it dead right there. But these animals are intelligent enough. They have their own, they have their own way of how they do things. I mean, you find dead deer, you find dead animals that are actually, in the feeding cycle of something that's a bigger predator. But you don't find a lot of predators in the woods. That's the thing. So there's a lot of facts that could support it. There's a lot of facts that don't support it. So at some point, I'm waiting before I die that someone is going to get a Bigfoot so I can get up and say,
I hope so.
Told you so.
I mean, how come none of the fur traders found a Bigfoot back in the day?
You know how much that fur would go for?
That's what I'm saying. They
Not the National Enquirer pricing either. I'm talking.
Invaluable.
they're all out punching skunk apes out in the middle of nowhere.
The Cupacabra. What
the chupacabra.
Chupacabra, yeah. That's
Chupacabra.
yeah. I mean, there's all that stuff, but I mean, we just pretty much being in upstate New York, not really a banging hot spot for Chupacabra or
we got the
Bigfoot
Cupacabra. He
or
lives right there on Taylor Ave.
abominable bees or anything. So it's kind of like it's it's spirits and ghosts and that kind of thing.
Is
And
Bigfoot going to be some content you talk about on Agent Paranormal?
I'll probably do a show on it. Yeah, talk a little. We did a Bigfoot lecture at the Woodgate Library. Right up as you're headed up to Andirons. It was freaking sold out. There are people standing outside. We had a couple people come in with the full ghillie suits. They look like they're Bigfoot. Oh yeah, I had a guy taping it, and I saw somebody. You got to tell that guy to stop taping this. I'm like, dude, why are you taping our lecture? Oh, because I want to do one. Well, just watch and observe. I don't like being taped.
Take notes.
I'm doing stuff, but
Unless
yeah,
you're
we did a
doing
whole
the
one.
taping, right?
Yeah, we did the whole thing, and they absolutely they loved it. I mean, it was they said it was the most intended lecture they ever had in their history of the library.
Insane. Awesome, man. Very cool. You got a lot of content that you're going to be producing here on the D, man, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the great stuff that you bring to the table, man. You got some really, really cool stuff, and Agent Paranormal goes off every other Sunday starting at 7 o'clock, so make sure you tune in to the D. And this guy, he's not only is he into all this stuff, but Agent Paranormal is for a reason because he's a talent agent. That's what he does. He's a booker, and he puts guys on the road and NAM and all that other stuff. So he's got these guys at his disposal. These guys from the Life Channel and all the other stuff.
Well, that's how I started. I was an agent for Paracelebs.
There you go.
And they would basically
Paracelebs.
Yes,
That's a thing.
So
right.
we would do
great
events, and of course, part of the bonding networking thing after the events is we go have some beers, and
I've done some amateur ghost hunting in my time.
There you go.
I've done the.
You should hop on a hunt with
I
them.
did. What is that castle out there? Beardsley Castle.
Oh yeah. Have you ever done Beardsley Castle?
No, they actually got to pay for that.
Oh, you do.
And they only let you. The last time I checked, they only let you do like odd nights. Obviously, they have a thriving business there. They're not. They want you there on a Saturday night when they're trying to like.
Right.
It's like a Monday night or Tuesday, and it's just never. We've never seen anything spectacular come out of that where we're like, oh God, that's a hot spot. We need to get in there. There are so many other places that produce a lot more that we probably would rather focus on.
Amigo, when he goes on a ghost hunt and the D goes on, you got to come with us.
I'm in.
Man. Yeah, for sure.
I'll wear my high vis D shirt so people could find me in the middle of the night.
We've got a lot of good things planned with these guys, and I'm really looking forward to getting this all out there. If people are interested in doing maybe a ghost hunt, or if they think they got paranormal activity, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach out to us on Facebook on the Agent Paranormal page.
Okay.
And message us. That's probably the easiest way because everyone's on social media these days.
Oh, yeah.
And that's usually how people get in touch with us. But they can also, there'll be a telephone number going on there. So if they need help, they can reach out to us. And like I said, again, we have a procedure how we do that.
Right.
We don't just. But the other thing that you have to remember is this got brought to my attention a couple years ago, is that we were getting calls from people who were tenants. They were renting apartments. And maybe they got themselves in a little too deep, or there were some issues, or maybe they just wanted to get out of there. They didn't like the landlord or the people there or whatever. So we started getting all these calls for, they want us to come in and investigate the place. I got things going on. I mean, very elaborate stories. And then we want you to come in. We want you to investigate the place. Then we started calling other people to say, you kind of getting these same kind of calls? Or like, yeah. And he goes, we got a few people that were actually tenants that wanted to get out of their lease by us saying that the place is haunted. And I'm like, I don't want to get placed into that. That's a tough thing, We're very landlord friendly, obviously. So we changed our policy on that. So if somebody actually is a tenant and they're having problems, is if the landlord gives us permission, we can speak to the landlord to be there. Then it makes sense. We don't want to, do damage to a landlord's property because somebody doesn't want to be there anymore and they want us to say that the place is haunted so they can get out of there.
It's like a jump rent.
Yeah, we don't do that anyways. We don't go in and say anything is haunted.
Right.
We say this is what we found.
They want to live rent free like the ghost.
Are there cases that you won't touch?
Yeah. What are some don'ts that are like some criteria that you negate a certain case?
Well, if you're going on like a full demonic case,
yeah, like an exorcism or something.
That's way above our pay grade. I did a little bit of stint when John Zaffis, who is probably the world's foremost demonologist, he's a nephew of Ed Warren. Warren from The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
He actually basically had me as the New York State rep for his paranormal group. So if there was a case, it would go to me. I would basically filter it and then pass it along to him if it was anything that was a little bit, above my pay grade. And there was one case where they sent me some pictures where people had looks like something tore away, almost like a werewolf attack or something. And I'm like, wow, that was pretty serious. But obviously, I don't know if that was legit or not. So you have to kind of feel it out. But if it is something that is really bad like that, then we would probably gather the evidence that we need to gather to show proof that there's something there that is paranormal related, and then try to pass it along to someone a little bit more of an expertise in that. Maybe John Zaffis, or John Zaffis would pass along to someone else. Exorcisms are very rare, and demonic activity is very rare. So we used to get a ton of calls like, there's a demon in my house. I know there's a demon because I got 3 scratches. I heard 3 bangs. So people have been watching too much of this paranormal television to start to think that. And I usually try to tell them there is not a demon in there. Well, I think I'm possessed. We're going to talk about possession on an episode, that there are certain layers of it you have to go through. It's a full-on process. So if something wants to possess you, it doesn't say, he looks like a good choice. I'm just going to possess him. There's a whole system and steps that happen before that. And so the best way to stay away from that stuff, if you're ever concerned, because some people really are,
oh yeah,
just stay away from from playing with Ouija boards. Stay away from, getting involved in
Seances.
witchcraft and seances and all that kind of stuff.
Not playing Dungeons and
Right.
Dragons.
Because Pete said in our last show, he goes, there's a price to pay to get the knowledge that you're seeking. There's always a price to pay.
Yeah.
And
He's right.
And I mean, if you want this forbidden knowledge that you're not supposed to have, you're going to pay for that somehow. So the best thing to do is just to stay away from it altogether. And paranormal investigator teams are not teams that go through and do demonic cases. We identify things, but truly, I don't even know if the demonic thing exists. I mean, I'm still skeptic about that.
Right.
Just because somebody told me there was, I don't believe it until I actually see it. So I'm
You got a
kind of
couple
on
priests
the
in your
fence.
pocket? You got a call?
I don't. I've never had to. Never had to.
See?
I don't even know if a priest, how that would even respond if I went into got on my phone and said church is near me and Google and called up somebody and told them.
It's like
I
some
don't know
public
how
defender priest. Just
Yeah.
send them out.
Yo, Father, give me that holy water, man. Give me that holy water.
He's got some paperback Bible in his front pocket.
Well, we've had.
What do I say? What do I say?
We've had some ministers approach us that are. I don't recall what denomination they were, but they wanted to do, the exorcism and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting anyone involved in anyone I've tried to help for exorcism unless I talk to some people to make sure I understand who is qualified to do that kind of thing. Because you could actually just make things worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Even as paranormal investigators, we don't antagonize. So we go in there, we're not like, you must leave or we will destroy you. I mean, it's not like that. And it's not like, Ghostbusters or anything. We just gather the facts, And
Just
sometimes
the
we
facts.
get challenged, and sometimes we tick something off, and it lets us know. And we respect that.
Have you been zapped?
Yeah. It's not a pleasant thing.
I bet.
Actually, twice.
Probably drains you too, right?
Yeah, it's like you just lay on the couch and you just feel like, you lift your arm, you're like, oh, God, it took so much energy. And you don't feel like people are like, well, maybe we're just coming down with something. Listen, I've had the flu, I've had bugs, I've had the cold. I know what that is. And respiratory, headaches. I mean, I know all that, and I don't have any of that. It's just like all the energy just left my body. And then you sleep it off, man. And then one time you get out of bed, you're like, that's weird. I feel normal. You just get up and you just walk around and go make some coffee and go about your day. It's just like it just came and went,
Right on, man.
Weirdest thing, man.
Great conversation today, Rich. Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
in and hanging out. And best of luck with Agent Paranormal. You guys are going to do some great things on the D. You can check out Agent Paranormal every other Sunday here on the D, Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. And tune in. They got some great stuff going on. And they're going to be doing some live on location stuff down the road. And we've got some fun things planned with Agent Paranormal. That's for damn sure.
Definitely got to stay tuned for that.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to do some ghost hunting. We're going to piss some things off, if you will.
Kick some
You're
ghosts,
gonna
hoard it
after
in.
you do that, man. I get that phone call, Rich.
Rich,
They followed me home.
Well, thanks to our sponsors, Utica Coffee, Saranac, of course, our friends over at Utica Hemp and EJA Moving Services. And then next week, we got a full week next week. I got all the boys from Tramp Jetstream are coming in to talk about our anniversary party, which is going on February 8th. Get your tickets at disruptionnetwork.net. Tickets are selling really good, too. We're going to have a Fleetwood Mac tribute. The Rumors album going to be performed to its entirety by Haley in the Water, which is Haley Jane and Annie in the Water coming together. It's going to be off the charts. It's happening February 8th at the JCC, which is the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica. There's beer, wine, food, a whole bunch of stuff going on. We're going to have a lot of fun. So come on out for that. And I will see you next week. Rich, thanks again. And always, you can always come and hang out whenever the hell you want, man.
Loved it today.
Yeah, good stuff today.
Rich, it was awesome talking to you, man.
You too, man. Appreciate it.
Rich, how can they find you on the social medias?
Agent Paranormal.
Agent
on
Paranormal.
Facebook, Instagram. We are there. Reach out and say hello, or if you got an issue or something you want to talk about or question, hit us up.
Awesome. And check us out, disruptionnetwork.net. See you later.
Join us Saturday, February 8th for the Disruption Network 3-year anniversary party at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica, New York. Musical acts include Annie in the Water, acoustic performance by Haley Jane, Trampoline Jetstream, and Live Noah. Haley in the Water will cap off the night covering Fleetwood Mac's hit album, Rumors. Party kicks off at 6 p.m. There will be beer, wine, food from Doughboys Barbecue, and Holy Pozzoli. Saturday, February 8th. For tickets, visit our website, disruptionnetwork.net.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broken everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.